You're not being hacked. You're being helped. That's the trap. In 2026, AI doesn't need to control you to shape you. It only needs to keep your life feeling smoother when you follow the path it suggests, and slightly harder when you don't. The scary part is how reasonable that feels in the moment. Here's a stat that should land in your chest. Most of what people watch on major video platforms comes from recommendations, not from search. That means the default experience isn't, I decide what I want. It's, I react to what appears. AI sometimes nudges us. It doesn't control us, but nudges compound. Kathy O'Neill put it in one line that explains the whole decade. Algorithms are opinions embedded in code. When code decides what shows up first, what keeps coming back, and what quietly disappears, your choice happens inside a menu you didn't build. Subscribe to Mind for AI and click the bell icon and watch till the end to stay ahead of the systems shaping your decisions. Because once you can spot the trap, you can step out of it without quitting your phone. You're scrolling late at night. Fatigue sets in. You're not even happy, you're just numb. And the next video starts automatically. It's slightly more emotional than the last one. Slightly more intense, slightly more likely to hook your attention. You catch yourself thinking, why am I watching this again? I didn't even choose this topic. Then you keep watching anyway, quietly. You open a shopping app for one boring item, a replacement, a small purchase. The app shows recommended for you, and it feels like convenience, like the system is saving you time. You add one extra item because it seems smart, then another because it's basically necessary. Later you look at the order and think, why am I buying this again? I didn't even plan to. You didn't plan to. You slid into it. You check the news to stay informed, and 10 minutes later, you're tense. Not informed. Tense. Your brain is scanning for threat. Your jaw is tight. And you can't remember what you originally opened the app for. That wasn't your intention, but it became your state. And your state becomes your decisions for the next hour. You message a friend, and your phone suggests a reply. It's polite and fast and safe. You tap it because you're busy. Nothing bad happens, so you keep doing it. Over time, you outsource tone. Then you outsource effort. Then you outsource your own words in tiny moments, and your relationships start feeling slightly less like you. Did you notice how none of this is dramatic? That's why it works. Now compare life before and after AI-driven personalization. Before, you still had persuasion, you still had advertising, you still had social pressure, but there was more friction. You searched for what you wanted. You chose what to watch. You had to decide more often because things didn't adapt to you every second. The next step didn't arrive automatically as a perfectly timed suggestion. After, the pause became optional. Autoplay removed it. Infinite scroll removed it. One-tap actions removed it. Notifications removed it. Recommendations removed it. And when the pause disappears, the easiest version of you takes over. The tired version, the bored version, the anxious version, the version that wants relief. That's the psychology trap AI uses on every human in 2026. It doesn't fight your logic. It waits for your weak moments. Algorithms can nudge decisions by predicting patterns based on your past behavior. Not mind reading, pattern reading. What you click when you're tired, what you watch when you're lonely, what you buy when you're anxious, what you replay when you feel behind. The system doesn't need to know who you are in your deepest sense. It only needs to know what you do in predictable contexts. You're not just consuming the feed, you're training it. And here's the part that hurts. The more you repeat the same micro-choices, the easier you become to predict. The easier you become to predict. The easier you become to nudge. The easier you become to nudge, the less your decisions feel like yours. So what is the trap, clearly? It's the relief loop. You feel discomfort, boredom, uncertainty, loneliness, stress. The system offers something that promises relief. A video, a notification, a deal, a hot take, a shortcut. You tap it. The system learns that relief works on you and it serves more of it, faster, with better timing. And you start living inside relief. Did you just feel a nudge to check your phone? That's the loop doing what it does. Tristan Harris has warned that many digital systems are optimized for engagement, not for your well-being, because engagement is what the business can measure. That doesn't require a villain. It requires incentives. If the system gets rewarded when you stay, it will learn what makes you stay. Now let's make this painfully believable with a tiny story you'll recognize. You sit down to do something important. Maybe work, maybe study, maybe a personal project. It's slightly uncomfortable because it requires effort and focus. You pick up your phone just for a second as a break. You see something funny, then something irritating, then something that makes you compare your life to someone else's highlight reel. In 5 minutes, your emotional state has shifted, and suddenly the important thing feels heavier than it did before. You didn't lose time, you lost momentum. And when you lose momentum often enough, your life starts feeling like it's run by interruptions instead of intentions. If this is hitting, like the video, one click from you helps this reach the people who feel the same thing but can't explain it yet. Now we fix it with what, why, and how, without exaggeration and without doom. Here's the what. AI systems aren't just tools anymore. They're curators. They rank what you see. They decide what is placed in front of your attention first. And attention is the gateway to everything. If something can influence what you notice, it can influence what you think about. If it can influence what you think about, it can influence what you choose. This is why your decisions start feeling unfamiliar. You're choosing inside a stream that was shaped for your autopilot. Here's the why. Because your brain has predictable shortcuts. It prioritizes novelty. It prioritizes social approval. It prioritizes threat. It prioritizes anything that promises relief from discomfort. Those shortcuts were useful in ancient environments. In modern digital environments, they become levers. And there's a neuroscience reason this hits hardest at certain times. When you're tired, stressed, or overloaded, the part of your mind that plans and inhibits impulses gets weaker. Your brain shifts toward habit and quick emotional decisions. You don't become a worse person. You become a more automatic person. The tired brain defaults. And the internet is built for defaults. Here's the second neuroscience piece that makes the trap feel almost unfair. Your brain responds strongly to variable rewards. Unpredictable rewards keep you checking. Most content is average, but one piece is amazing, shocking, validating, or frightening. And your brain learns that the next swipe might be the one. This is why scrolling can feel sticky even when you're not enjoying it. You don't scroll because it's good. You scroll because it might be. Now combine fatigue with variable rewards and a system trained to maximize engagement, and you get the relief loop at industrial scale. So how do you break the trap without deleting everything? You don't fight it with willpower. You fight it with design. Micro-action 1 is a purpose sentence before you open a feed. Before you open the app that usually eats your time, ask one question. What am I here for? One purpose, one task. If you can't name it, you don't open the feed yet. You're not banning yourself. You're forcing a choice point. Say it. What am I here for? This works because deliberate behavior is harder to predict than autopilot behavior. And prediction is what the system uses to nudge you. Micro-action 2 is reclaiming the pause. Turn off autoplay where you can. If you can't, build a manual stop. When a video ends, take your hand off the phone for one breath. Then choose the next click, not the algorithm. You. One breath sounds small. That's why it's realistic. Because you will actually do it on a tired day. Micro-action 3 is training your recommendations like they learn from you because they do. Most people try to resist the feed while feeding it the same signals. If you click outrage, you get outrage. If you click fear, you get fear. If you click comparison, you get comparison. Use not interested. Unfollow accounts that spike your nervous system. Stop rewarding the content that hijacks you, even if it feels magnetic. This isn't moral. It's mechanical. Micro-action 4 is the 24-hour decision trace. For one day, write down a handful of moments where you felt pulled. Not everything. Just the moments that felt automatic. What were you feeling right before? What did you click? How did you feel after? This turns the invisible trap into visible data. Visible becomes changeable. That's power. And if you want to bring AI into the solution, do it in the smartest way. Use AI as a mirror, not a master. Take your decision trace notes and ask an AI tool to summarize patterns. When do I get pulled most? What emotions show up first? What topics trigger impulsive buying? What time of day am I most reactive? What sequences reliably change my mood? The AI won't be perfect, but it will spot repetition fast. And repetition is all you need to see to regain control. Now here's the part most people miss. The trap isn't only content, it's identity. Feeds don't just recommend videos and products. They recommend versions of you. The angry you, the anxious you, the obsessed you, the constantly optimizing you, the comparison you. If you keep feeding that version attention, it becomes familiar. Then it becomes normal. So you have to choose what version of you gets trained. Did you just feel the nudge to say, that's just how life is now? That thought is part of the trap too, because it makes you passive. Here's an analogy that locks this in without making it dramatic. AI is like a chess opponent that studies your openings. If you always make the same move when you're bored, tired, lonely, or stressed, you become easy to predict. But deliberate moves are harder to predict than defaults. AI is best at predicting your defaults. It struggles with your deliberate actions. So the goal is not to become random. The goal is to become deliberate, especially in the moments you usually hand control away. Do one simple thing tomorrow morning. Choose first. Before you consume anything suggested, choose one input you control. A page of a book, a walk without your phone, a single intentional search for something you actually need, a calm video you chose on purpose. This tells your brain, I steer first. Choose first. Then consume. Then pick one app that hijacks you most and change one default. Turn off one notification category. Remove one account that spikes you. Add one account that makes you calmer and clearer. One small change repeated is how you change the environment, because the environment is shaping you anyway. Now the identity shift, because this is the real win. You don't need to become someone who never gets nudged. You need to become someone who notices the nudge and chooses anyway. Reactive to conscious chooser, autopilot to author. Your mind is still yours, but you have to claim it in small moments. Do you think AI really influences your decisions? Or are we overestimating it? Comment below and tell me where you feel the relief loop most. Scrolling, shopping, news, notifications, or messaging. Like, share, and subscribe to Mind for AI if you want practical, realistic ways to stay human in a world optimized for attention. AI sometimes nudges us. It doesn't control us, but you decide what gets trained.